Considering that projectile motion is having to do with velocities in the x and y direction, we need to talk about our kinematic equations. Now, these are the kinematic equations we've been using for whenever we're dealing with an object that's on the ground. So like a car that's traveling at this velocity and going at this acceleration, how far will it travel, yada yada. And then these are the kinematic equations that we've been using for free fall when the object is in the y-axis. So tossing an object up in the air. And anyway, you've already gone through the sections. So we need to talk about the kinematic equations that we need to be using for projectile motion. And considering once again the idea that the velocity components in the horizontal direction does not change versus the vertical components of velocity do change. Okay, so with that being said, wait a minute. One thing that we need to do here is, being that we have velocity components in both the x and y direction, we need to go through here and specify that. Okay, so instead of just, for this first kinematic equation, instead of just saying v, what we're going to call it is vx. And we'll have our Vx over here, and final velocity in the x direction, and initial velocity in the x direction. And so what I'm just going to go through here is just marking these up. And not all these will be used, but either way, I'm just going to go through this right now and just mark up all the velocities. So for over here, for the free fall, we have final velocity in the y direction, initial velocity in the y direction. And once again, I'm just going to continue to do this. And we're dealing with acceleration in acceleration due to gravity. So I'm just going to mark that with a lowercase g over here. So we know that our acceleration is going to be, once again, in the y direction, being that the object is going on, being subjected to the force of gravity. So now that we have this marked up, let's discuss this a little bit further. Okay, so considering once again the horizontal components of velocity do not change, does it really make sense that we're dealing with initial velocity in the x direction and final velocity in the x direction? If it's not changing, does it make sense that we'd be dealing with a initial and final velocities in the x direction? Well, no. It would just make sense if we're dealing with an average velocity. I mean, thinking about it like this, if you have the parabolic trajectory of the object and the velocity is not changing, why are we dealing with an initial and final? So what I'm just going to do here is every single formula that has the initial and final velocities, we're just going to cross all these out. Okay, so the only formula that we're going to be dealing with is just going to be this one over here for the x components. And this over here, we're going to be using all of these. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to do a little numbering here, and I will pull these all together on a different slide.